Hello everyone, it's me, Ray Long, and this is another episode of Wizard Beard Painting. Coming at you pre-recorded from the Wizard Tower here in Los Angeles. Today we're taking a break from the Necron Triarch Stalker. Holy shit, I can't keep my face in frame here. We're rocking out with the ghetto setup here, but I've tweaked the settings, and hopefully we'll have better video quality and some better audio quality. I'm not gonna fuck around with Spotify for a while. I understand, Content ID flagging my stuff for copyright, and I've set my settings not to monetize my streams, and once in a while I still run into a song, particularly from Orchard Music Group, that just can't be distributed anywhere across the globe for some reason. It'd be really weird. Like last night, I tried recording a video, which actually turned out to be pretty boring, so I deleted it anyway. But all I was doing was putting some base coats down on some Plaguebearers of Nurgle. But I'm not going to be streaming music for a while. I'll probably add some music in from YouTube's free library. But yeah, enough about that. But I will say one last thing. I just wish they'd be a little more consistent. Some of these publishers, like Orchard Music Group, I love them. They've got so many of my favorite bands. They own the copyrights and manage the copyrights for those catalogs. But like for example, the Cosmos album by Zombie, there was a song or two on there that couldn't be played anywhere in the world online whatsoever, but the rest of the album could be. It was really weird. So on the technical side, we should have slightly better or dramatically better video quality today. I've spent some time tweaking the settings in both OBS and on the camera on my phone here. I think it's about as good as I'm going to be able to get it for now, without any kind of significant lag or frame rate drop here in the video. So without any more ranting and rambling and raving from me, let's talk about what we're going to paint today. Today we've got 14 Plaguebearers of Nurgle. I actually have 20 of them, but I forgot to prime the other 6. Yeah, it's been crazy over here. So yesterday I spent some time putting down some base layers of Rakarth Flesh, and we're going to paint these Plaguebearers quite a bit different from the other Nurgle that we've painted so far. We're going to really try to go for a really disgusting flesh look here with these particular models. We're going to be using a lot of different paints here to achieve that effect. So in no particular order, I've got them laid out here on the desk. Let's see what we've got. We have, of course, Rakarth Flesh, a favorite here on the Wizard Beard Painting Show. What else do we have? We've got some Eldar Flesh for some dry brushing. We've got some Drakenhof Nightshade for some shading. We're going to get some blue, some disgusting blues in there. Make it look like rotting and bloated waterlogged flesh. We of course have Nurgling Green. We're going to be using that definitely. We've got Flesh. Whoop. That'll be fun. We've got some Dawnstone for some dry brushing. That should be interesting. Agrax Earthshade Gloss. Reichland Flesh Shade. Of course, we have some Niblet Green. We have Kazendora Yellow. Athonian Camo Shade. Beeltan Green. And we have 5 Reaper paints. We have Pure Black. We have Polished Silver. We have Shadowstone. We have 2 of their high-density pigments, Dragon Blue and Saffron Yellow. So these are the colors we're going to use on our palette today. And yeah, so let's switch over to the painting cam and let's get to fucking work. Oh yeah, there we go. It's a bit better. Shouldn't be too much lag. Do a little finger wiggle test. And here we go. So let's just pick up one of these models here. This one's fun. He's got his sword. And like I said, we've put down some layers of Rakarth Flesh already. Some very thin, very thin layers using the watercolor wash technique. Basically, I make my paint super thin like a watercolor, and then spend a lot of time building up layers. There's a couple reasons why I do that. One is it's really easy to blend, a lot easier to blend. Other thing too is if you put too much paint down that's too heavy, you can start to obscure and cover up some of the finer detail on the model, which is what we don't want. We want to preserve all of the detail in the sculpt, right? We don't want to lose any of it. So I think this is about as good as I'm going to be able to get the video here. I am going to get some upgraded equipment in the not too distant future. I've decided the best and easiest way to upgrade my setup is just to get a new Android device with one of those, 10 megapixel plus cameras on it. And that should be good enough for quite a while. We'll get a lot of mileage out of that. But anyway, so we've got the Rakarth Flesh, and we want to kind of start with this fleshy type of base color. And we want to start building another layer on top of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Nurgling Green, and we'll shake that up real good. We'll get the Nurgling Green down on the palette, and let's move this palette around here a little bit, get a little clean space. So yeah, we'll get the Nurgling Green down. And we might lighten it up with a little something. You know, you don't have to use these paints as they come. You can switch them up. You can mix them with other paints to get a new color. You know, a little basic color theory. And I actually am going to mix a little bit of Rakarth Flesh in this particular batch of Nurgling Green just to see what it looks like. We can put a little over here, and just to try it out. Let's see where the fuck that Rakarth Flesh go. This Rakarth Flesh pot is a little janky. I don't know how or why it keeps spilling out the back. It seems to defy the laws of paint physics, but who knows? It just seems pretty fucking gross and nasty. Anyway, we're actually getting kind of low on the Rakarth Flesh anyway, so. But let's put some right here on the palette, and we're gonna go ahead and mix them together and see what kind of color we can get out of them. It should be a more of a kind of a fleshy, muted green type of look. And let's see, I'll put a little water down, and let's just mix these right here. See what they look like. Yeah, see, the Rakarth Flesh kind of overpowers the green. We're gonna add a little more to it, and probably just a little dab of yellow too. So, 'cause why not? You know, we can experiment. Let's get a little dab of that Saffron Yellow. I don't really think that the Nurgling Green is doing too much, but I haven't really put much in there either, so let's just try a little bit more. At one point in time I had a pretty good mix on the palette, but that palette has long since been cleaned, so I have done this before. I got a really gross look, which is what Nurgle's all about. Decay, grossness. So it kind of makes it just a little bit darker, but they don't really blend all that well, but we've already got it on the palette, so fuck it. See if we can make something happen. Especially if we, you can see they're just a little bit different. It's kind of hard to tell on the screen, but why don't we go ahead and put a couple of dabs of this here Saffron Yellow down. See what we can make. I haven't used this in a while, so give it a good shake. Put just it's high, it's high density pigment, so literally 2 drops is all we're going to use. That's starting to look gross and putrid. Let's mix it up. Oh yeah, look at that. And we're going to put just Yeah, that's pretty good. Look at that. It's kind of hard to tell right there, but actually looks pretty decent. All right, so let's get our base brush. Yeah, because we don't necessarily need to cover the whole model with it. We just kind of want to get an impression of some of the shapes down, right? So, looking for our Citadel base brush. Where the fuck are you? Here we go. Brush has become a favorite on the Wizard Beard painting show. Make sure the tip's a little bit soft. Put that shit in your water. Nice and funky. Alright, look at this disgusting green we have here. I like it. Alright, let's slap it on a model and see how it looks. Oh shit. The theme of this week has been fucking clumsiness, so. Oh yeah, look at that. That is gross as fucking hell. And as we reload the palette, you know, I didn't take any kind of scientific measurements as to, you know, how much of each pigment I put in, so we'll have to kind of use our eyes and our judgment to reproduce it later. What I'm going for with this particular shade of green is like, this is really fucking gross, but if you've ever had a festering wound and the pus is starting to get really green and nasty, like it's been, you know, like kind of, maybe it's abscessed a bit, and it's just poisonous fucking rot that's just growing inside your abscessed wound, that's kind of the effect that we're trying to go for here with this particular shade. So, this particular color. And we'll just get it on there. And, you know, since we put a little Rakarth Flesh in there, it seems to be blending nice with the layer that we already have on the model. Since we're doing a bunch of these troops, you know, I don't want to spend all day on them. We want to get a pretty decent tabletop quality fairly quickly with a bit of a unique look, so. At least in terms of the color scheme. And again, try to keep it thin here, because thin paints are sexy paints. So we'll just, yeah, fuck it, we'll do the whole model. Why the fuck not? I'll leave the sword and the horns. Shit. Yeah, so. When I was putting music on the stream, or I keep calling it the stream, when I was putting music into these episodes, I wanted to expose any current and future subscribers, all one of you. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing, whoever you are. YouTube won't show me who you are because you're not sharing your subscriptions, and that's fine. I respect your privacy. I wouldn't out your name anyways unless you wanted me to, but thanks for subscribing, whoever you are. If you want to leave a comment below, I'll be sure to give you a shout out in the next video. Alright, that's pretty good. It's fucking nasty looking. Look at that. Looks like somebody blew a snot rocket, sculpted a 9-foot Plaguebearer out of it. So, here we go. I don't know if they're 9 feet. I read that on 1D4chan that they're about 9 feet tall relative to the other models, but I don't know the veracity of that. I don't know the dimensions. Oh, this is looking fucking gross. Ugh. When your big nasty Nurgle rolls up on the table, people should be they should be repulsed, in my opinion. At least that's what I'm going for. Painting this big stupid fucking elephantitis foot over here. And if you have elephantitis, hey, make it work for you. I'm not judging. Fucking nasty. I'm trying to train myself to stay in frame here. It's partially why I put that palette down to help me stay in frame right here. It's a disposable palette from Games Workshop. I like them a lot. I don't like cleaning a plastic palette each time. I want to do a different project. So. All right, we don't got to be perfect here because, you know, the nice thing about Nurgle is you can keep it kind of organic, kind of loose, and still call it a great effect. So, the assembly can be a little bit fragile with some of these pieces, though, like this head. Oh, duh, wrong camera. This head here dangling from his hand, or dangling from his sword. It's like just barely glued on there, just on the tip of the sword. It's alright though. Yeah, look at that, fucking disgusting. Oh, you putrid hunk of shit. I love you. I love you, Nurgle. Nurgle's a daemon after my own heart. My own putrid, disease-ridden, cholesterol-filled heart. Alright. Which actually I actually have pretty decent cholesterol. Last time I checked anyway, about a year ago. Oh, fucking looking gross. Yeah, these are going to be nasty. I love that Nurgle. So if you've got some miniatures to share, why don't you put a link to them down below? I'd love to check them out. I love seeing what other people are working on. Get some inspiration. We can inspire each other. You know, just trying to keep it positive here on the Wizard Beard Painting Show. Yeah. I'm doing these shows instead of indulging in my previous habits of internet trolling. But I realized I was doing a lot of internet trolling because I wasn't in a good place. I wasn't in the place I wanted to be mentally, so just taking it out on others. Not that you need to know all about my internet habits, but I'm not even really that much of a troll. I'll just occasionally post some snarky nonsense on Facebook. But I'm 32. There's no time for that shit, man. Who's got time to fucking piss people off? Because at the end of the day, you know, there'll be a new news cycle tomorrow. And, you know, they never report the good things on the news. It doesn't sell headlines, you know. There's a lot of good shit going on in the world, but, you know, people are obsessed these days with commenting on all the nonsense across the spectrum. So we just try to keep it positive here, you know. Because that's, you know, if you're not having fun with the hobby or with gaming at the table, you know, maybe we need to find a different hobby. Today, I was watching on miniwargaming.com. I'll give them a plug. Obviously, you guys know who they are. I'm not affiliated with them, so I'm going to do some unpaid shilling. I was watching their Learn How to Play 8th Edition videos, and I mean, the shooting phase seems to be the most complex part, and really like ripe for micro tactics. And but the whole game, really, I mean, compared to 7th edition, part of the reason why I didn't spend a lot of time actually getting into 7th edition rule-wise, you know, I enjoy the fluff, obviously, and everything else like that. But in terms of actually playing the game, it's like you know, it's getting harder and harder to remember shit. So, not like dementia-wise. I'm just saying, like, learning new things. If it's outside of the realms of software engineering or other interests of mine, it's just, yeah, be a little tough. That's what happens when you're in your 30s. It's a known thing. It happens to all of us. You got to really work harder to learn new information. So, let's put some more Rakarth Flesh down. And the shitty containers, I already got some on my thumb. Because fuck this paint pot. Alright. I'm going to wipe off my stupid thumb here. Hang on a second. Ugh. I might just start using my t-shirt because, well, it's a t-shirt and I don't give a fuck about it. Even though it's a scale 15 shirt. It's not the most well-designed shirt, but a colleague of mine picked it up from the Southern California Linux Expo this year. So all right, let's get that Nurgling Green. Remember, this is our formula for this particular shade. Some Rakarth Flesh, some Nurgling Green, is 2 drops of Saffron Yellow, right? I think the yellow is really what makes it, honestly. Is that Saffron Yellow, that pigment. So, don't be afraid to, mix paints from different vendors. Interesting color combinations, You don't even have to paint all the same models in a unit the same way. A lot of people do, but you don't have to. There's nothing in the rules saying that a unit has to look exactly identical, paint scheme-wise, to every other one. And it's in that unit, so, get as creative as you want. But your models. Or maybe they're your clients' models. In that case, get as creative as they pay you to be. All right. 2 drops of Saffron Yellow. 1. 2. Ah. Let's mix this up. That pustulant, oozy, yellow-green monstrosity that is this, our paint here. And then, see? It plays with the Nurgling Green, which we need a little bit more of, I think. Just a touch more. So as we're mixing this on the palette here, we might come across some variations as we mix it each time. I don't want to mix too much of it at once because that will it'll all dry out and be wasted, I don't want to do that. So, Nurgling Green. Maybe we'll do just another little dab of yellow. Ooh, there we go. Woo! Oh yeah, that's looking good. I like it. Mix it all up real nice. Real nice. There we go. Let's see how it goes on the model. Seems to look pretty decent on the brush. And of course someone's fucking dying again. If I were out in the middle of fucking nowhere, I wouldn't be hearing as many sirens. But I'm choosing to live out here in LA. Alright, let's get some more paint down on one of these sick little bastards. Yeah. That one's looking particularly gross. So, of course, it's kind of easy to get some disgusting effects on your Nurgle models when they're covered in sores and blisters and open wounds and festering guts. Yummy! We'll definitely have to take some pictures of these after this episode, just so we can get some shots. And then, of course, I'll post those shots on Facebook at the appropriate places. Of course, the Long War Network, Spiky Bits, also over at the Next Gen Wargaming group on Facebook. So a local shop here in the Hollywood/LA area, which seems pretty badass. They got tons of, if I'm looking at the pictures correctly, looks like they have tons of tons of space to play. A lot of space. Far more than the GW shop in Glendale. The place is so tiny. I think they opened a new one though. Somewhere. Anyway, look at that. Look at that nice pussy green. And we'll do the next one here. Oh, this fucking bastard. This three-horned angry little bastard. Alright. Let's see. Let's get his face slathered in Nurgle's Love Juice. That's what we're going to call this. Call it Nurgle's Love Juice. Some Nurgle juice. And after we get these layers down, we'll probably start doing some shading. Fuck it, why not? After all, I said we don't want to spend all day on each model, but we will probably spend a good amount of time at the end on each model, just kind of putting the finishing touches on, you know. I want to get some purples in here. I think purples and blue around the wound give it that really nasty bruised look, you know. We can hopefully have it leaking out some of this festering Nurgle juice. Oh. Oh, yeah, work those hobby muscles. Make love to the models. Probably could use a bigger brush, but fuck it. I'm already all in on this one. Plus you can snake it up in those little hard to reach nooks and crannies. We're trying to go kind of fast here. We don't want to, like I said, we don't want to spend all day slapping paint down on these. So, oh, goddamn. That is a good looking variation of the Nurgle Green. Look at that. This is the first one that we did. See if I can get a slightly better shot here. Hopefully it'll autofocus for me. Ugh. Material universes. Not my friend. Alright. Oh, this sick bastard's holding some guts. Look at him. He's got a mouth on his stomach. A one-eyed bastard. If he had some wings, you could make him into a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. How about that? Go old school. And, if the palette gets a little too dry, we can hopefully just add a little dab of water to rehydrate it. So, there you go. Let's get that spine. And you know what? We're going to a lot of times, you know, when you're first starting out, you might, you know, a unit like this, you paint it all the same base color. You might be tempted to use the same dry brush color on every spot in the model. And that's good for like a nice base level highlight. We could also, you know, there's no rules. We could also use different dry brushes in different spots of the model wherever it makes sense, you know. It's like if we get some purple right here in this fucking shitty little mouth that he's got on his stomach, we could, you know, we could dry brush that with a different color. We could dry brush the arms with a different color. I mean, we can make it as colorful as we want. And what's kind of nice about Nurgle is, you know, there's a good precedent in nature for toxicity and dangerous, like venomous and poisonous things being brightly colored, right? So there's actually a technical term for that, but I don't know it. So if you know it, why don't you leave a comment below? Help me expand my vocabulary. I could just say it's something and be wrong, That would give me an answer really quickly. People love correcting other people on the internet. It's pretty good. Oh shit, that wasn't even totally in frame. Sorry about that. Ugh, it's gonna be so nasty. I can't wait to field these motherfuckers on the table. Speaking of fielding motherfuckers on the table, I spent way too much time today tinkering around in Battle Scribe. Starting to put together a 2,000 point Tyranid and Gene Stealer list. Gene Stealer cult list. I think it would be really fun to play. Maybe I'll pull it up here in a few minutes and look at it. I don't know enough about the Tyranids, but they seem to be... Both Tyranids and Necrons seem to have some pretty interesting power levels in 8th edition so far. You know, pre-codex. We'll see how that changes. Of course, the balance and the meta is going to shift, you know, with each codex release, but that's a vibrant, somewhat healthy war game for you. Now, I do think Warhammer is getting a lot healthier. That's why I'm so zealous to play it now, because it just seems like whatever sea changes occurred over at Games Workshop, they're really focusing on the players' satisfaction and not just the bottom line from an accounting perspective. I've thought about, I'm still thinking about doing commissions professionally. Again, like I said before, the timing could be an issue, but I'm willing to do it. And probably start accepting commissions after I have a bigger and better library of videos here. So, you know, I want to paint a wide range of things so you can see that I can, in fact, actually paint more than just Nurgle and Necrons. Oh shit. That was almost sealed with the palette. Be no good. Ugh. This looks so gross. I love it. So I'm going to keep tinkering with the settings here on all my different pieces of equipment to get the right blend of resolution and quality and everything else. It's a bit tough, but we'll just, like I said before, incremental improvement, you know? That's what it takes. Just keep working at it. Keep putting time in, and you'll get better. And if you're not getting better, you need to learn how to learn from your mistakes. And if that's still not getting better, maybe it's time to get a different hobby. I'm not talking about painting, I'm talking about, like, you know, video broadcasting, whatever, you know. A big proponent of individual happiness. I mean, you know, not maliciously at the expense of other people, but, you know, I think that everyone should be able to pursue happiness, you know? What the fuck? Without it, life is thoroughly miserable. But Papa Nurgle wants to make you happy. He wants to give you his gifts. His putrid, blighted gifts. Speaking of blights, I really like the new plastic blight drone in the Dark Imperium set. It looks like it's a good looking sculpt. I mean, it definitely has a different aesthetic slightly than the Forge World model, right? And that's okay. But the next models I buy, I'm gonna attempt the old partially assembled paint the partially assembled pieces, and then finish assembling the model technique. Seems like for non-Nurgle models, make things painting. I mean, even for Nurgle models, make things painting, make painting things a bit easier. But what the fuck? All right, yeah, we might run out of Rakarth Flesh today, or maybe not. You know, once the pot is effectively empty, you don't have to throw it away. You can put a little water in there, and a couple times swish it around it, and make a wash right in the pot. You know. Okay, we got our Rakarth Flesh. There's our base. Let's get our Nurgling Green down. Ugh. Fucking Rakarth Flesh. Let me see if I can improve the quality of this video here for 1 second. Let's see. It's already... Alright. Right now the video is being captured at 854 by 480 out of this little camera over here. So I've tried different resolutions, but the lag was too much. So like I said, I'm gonna get some better equipment here, people. Thanks for bearing with me here. I got streaming tech from 5 years ago, but what are you gonna do? There, but not enough to really matter. Alright, that's fine. Alright, and then we'll get our 2 drops of Saffron Yellow at high density pigment. Reaper, you did a fine job with these high density pigments. Reaper Bones 4 Kickstarter is either starting or live now. I've been seeing it in the news, and it looks like it's going to be awesome. We did paint a Reaper Bones miniature on a previous episode before we had the multi-camera setup. We can take a look at it real quick. Just as a reminder, this is we painted this guy. Hey, he's basically done. We could probably put a little more work into him, but he looks pretty good. We're kind of going for like a bone armor effect, and I really like that shield. Oh, really like the shield a lot. And this is a Reaper Bones plastic. Pretty decent. Oh shit, not paying attention. I want my palette to dry out here. Alright. Let's get that Nurgly pus green, that Nurgle juice. Nurgle Love Juice. My favorite love juice. Oh yeah. Let's give the gift of Nurgle juice. And let's scoop up some of that chowder off the palette. Let's get to fucking work. I'm happy with the wood tones I've gotten on my Bestigors of Nurgle that I was working on. Those still need some work, definitely. I still have so many of those to assemble. But my interest in Age of Sigmar is kind of waning a bit. Now that 8th edition's out. There's only so much hobby time. I was thinking about starting a War Machines or Hordes or both. There's a couple of armies from both of those, but again, now that 8th edition's out, I'm actually like really excited to play it. You can say, hey, you keep jerking off 8th edition and Warhammer and Games Workshop. It's like, well, I'm fucking painting Citadel models. What do you want from me? Tell you how great War Machine and Hordes is. It is a great game, or a great set of games. But we're not painting Warhammer Hordes models. We are painting Nurgly motherfuckers. Plaguebearers. So, we're gonna be enthusiastic about the fucking Games Workshop, man. There was a small game from 7th edition I wanted to pick up. It was that skirmish. It was like I don't know if it was like a skirmish game, but yeah, it was like a skirmish game. I forget what the fuck it was called. I don't even think it's available anymore. But Kill Squad maybe, or something like that. Death Squad. Assassinate. I don't know. I don't remember. It was something like that. But it had basically like different rules for composing your units, and then there was like certain restrictions. There were some units you couldn't take because it was a skirmish game, you know, a little tiny warband skirmish game. So you get so many points, you know. There's certain troop types you couldn't take, and it just seemed like it was a fun, fast-paced, less expensive game to get into, you know, using all the Citadel models. So hopefully with the sea change over at Games Workshop, we'll see more specialist game support. There is a Games Workshop game I want to get. I see copies of it online once in a while. It's this naval battle game set in the old world, the old fantasy world. Looks fucking awesome. I'm so bad with names, otherwise I'd tell you what the hell it's called. But the models in it are amazing. And it comes with this huge, giant, like, silk screened playmat, and it's just got all the pieces. You know, they have like the ruler pieces you can like assemble and paint. I think if I remember correctly, it's just like all around. It's just like a really hobby intensive game. What I like about wargaming is just the customization options that are available. Like you can literally do anything you want to your models, you know. And I could paint these Hello Kitty pink if I wanted to. Still be legal. I wouldn't want to for my own personal army. Nothing wrong with it, but you can do that. A lot of room for creative expression on the tabletop. Speaking of, before I was talking about the possibility of doing commissions, I was doing a little market research, and you know, I wouldn't want to see, selling commercial art is hard. It's a hard business, you know. And if you enter into a new business space, you have to decide how you're going to position yourself, right? If you're going to position yourself as like a premium brand, obviously you have to, first off, you have to deliver the goods, right? You got to actually be premium, you know. And secondly, you have to think about your price points, right? It seems like the high end in terms of the hourly rate, because you'd get it's really easy to burn yourself on a per project flat fee. So hourly is typically the way you want to go. But I don't know about model painting, but I'm just saying other creative endeavors. I found that hourly is better. Keeps everyone a little more on the same page. But it seems like the high end for model painting is $25 an hour. And hey, that's nothing to sneeze at. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if you did that full time, what is that? I guess if you were able to paint full time at $25 an hour, I'm not an accountant, but I think that's like a 60 grand a year base salary. You know, you could live comfortably, and if that's supplemental, let's say you're just a beast and you are in high demand and you can crank out 40 hours worth of painting in 3 days like a maniac. Well, it's lucrative, you know. But, you know, that kind of work schedule is kind of unsustainable, but still, you know. I like to imagine the extremes when I'm contemplating an endeavor. I like to figure out what like maximum output could look like, you know, what the what the highest potential is. So let's say that I were painting at the highest levels or at a higher level, and people were like, "Yeah, I'll pay you $25 an hour." I'd do it. I'd probably even paint for a little bit less than that, but I don't know. I'll figure out what my rates are and what my schedule is, and you know, if people want me to paint models for them, we can talk about it. I'm open to it. I'm really interested in if I'm going to do that. Of course, I'd like to paint them on these videos here for you, so you can see how they come along. These green motherfuckers are looking nice. All right, let's see if we can squeeze a little more out of this before we put another round down on the palette here. All right, look at this musician here. Whoop. Models are kind of tough to assemble, you know, holding the pieces in place while the glue dries. It's just, I think in the future I'm going to start using green stuff in addition to glue in order to hold things together, pose them, you know, let it dry, and put really thin layers of green stuff in between the pieces. I mean, definitely use some glue as well, but you know, why not use glue and green stuff, you know? Especially use the green stuff to fill in some cracks, smooth it out real nice. Because there's definitely, you know, some of these, like right here, it's kind of hard to see right here with the lighting, but there's definitely like a seam right here that could be filled in with green stuff and smoothed out. Just kind of normalized a bit. Alright, let's get these putrid little bastards over here. Alright, we're going to have to get some more of that Nurgle Love Juice down on the palette. Whip up another batch of that Nurgle juice. Nurgle juice. Oh yeah! Making love with the Nurgle demons. So after we get this down, this particular layer down, I think I'm going to probably cut the video off and try to work on improving the video settings just a little bit more for the next hour. Alright, let's get our Rakarth Flesh down. Then we'll get our Nurgling Green down. And maybe that we don't actually need Rakarth Flesh to get that color exactly. And maybe that it's just completely washed out or muted out by the other shades, but okay, we started with it. I don't want to change the recipe now. Could change the recipe after some more layers are put down, but there we go. In the next episode, look at how much we wasted right there. The next episode, we're going to do some shading, some dry brushing on these. We start getting some details down, some initial details. Let's get our 2 drops of this bright Saffron Yellow, this Reaper Master Series paint. Oh, squeeze out a drop. Oh yeah, and one more. It's like a super dense version of the Flash Gets Yellow almost. You could probably get the same effect with Flash Gets Yellow, probably just require a bunch more. We're going to do some more blending of colors on this episode. Well, not this episode, but in this series here, this Nurgle series. We're going to be blending Dragonstone, or excuse me, Dragon Blue from the Reaper MSP series. We're going to be blending that with some Saffron Yellow, see how that looks. See what kind of shade of green we can get from that. We'll also blend it with some Carrowbird Crimson and some Mephiston Red. See if we got a nice purple. A purple. Oh yeah. Make love to your models. Sexy. Disease and famine never look so fucking sexy. There used to be a fashion trend in the 90s called heroin chic. All the models were like, well, they probably weren't on heroin, they're probably on coke, but they were definitely probably anorexic. I'm glad that sex symbols these days look a little healthier. Yeah. I'm all about positive sexuality. I know I'm a horrific looking beast, but I'm all about that positive, healthy sexuality. I won't judge. I don't care who you enjoy your relations with, so long as it's another consenting adult. You know, it's not my business. It's not my karma. So fuck it. Do what you gotta do, man. And look. Look at this fucking Nurgle. Look at this putrid, brand new, original Nurgle technique that we've developed right here on this show. This new shade for Nurgle. This new base coat. Color his dome up a bit here. Oh, sorry, that was off frame. I'm not sure how I want to do the horns. And the other models I've done for Nurgle, the horns have been Spirit Stone Red. But I'm getting kind of bored with that. I would maybe like to do more of a traditional, like, antler look, but I might just do the horns black or make them stone looking. I don't know yet. We can do whatever we want, you know. There's a lot of options. You gross bastard. With Nurgle, I don't mind if the green gets a little everywhere because, you know, again, the pussing and the oozing and the oh my. Goes on a little thick, just let the brush do the work and pull it around. Pull it off, pull it around. Pull your paints around. Alright. Go up in here. Yeah. I think this part of why this is going on so well is did a really thin base coat with that Rakarth Flesh. I don't think the effect would look quite the same if we had just done this right on the Chaos Black primer that we primed the models with. I don't want his face to become skewered. Skewered. Got a toothbrush or a paintbrush in my face right now, so alright, there we go. We might do some like preliminary highlights, dry brushing technique with the Niblet Green. Maybe. I'm not sure yet. But before we do that, we're going to figure out how we're going to wash it. We got some choices, you know. And we don't have to do every, like I said, we don't have to do every model with the same wash. We could switch it up to represent that organic variance. You know, things are decaying at different rates. There's no saying that. There's no guarantee that all these plague bearers have the same diseases and are rotting at the same rate, or, you know, came out of Nurgle's fucking garden or whatever he has at the same rate. So maybe some are older, some are newer. Who knows? Look at this bastard. So on the video that I deleted, these blades that are stuck in his back, these come from the Mutalith Vortex Beast model. I didn't make the variation that was the whatever the other model is that you can build out of that kit. This model, I didn't have any green stuff, and there was some separation. They didn't quite fit together that well because not all the pieces fit together perfectly off the sprue, but I said fuck it, I'll just shove some blades into his sides. This motherfucker's hard to kill. Obviously, he's seen some battle. He's got some slightly minor flesh wounds to show for it, right? The facial sculpts are always the things that I'm the most paranoid about, because I hate when the paint's too heavy on the faces and all the detail gets obscured. That can happen too if you go a little too heavy on the primer, so just be careful if you're spraying primer out of a can. It might be easier if you prime with an airbrush, if you use some of that next level painting airbrush primer tech. But I don't have an airbrush yet, so, or really the space to even operate one. I don't have very good ventilation in the studio apartment, so. Gotta open that taint. Gotta get that Nurgle taint. I wonder how bad Nurgle taint smells. It's gotta be just so lovely. Woo. A rotting diseased taint all up in your face. Some sick bastard on 1D4chan, the Wikipedia for tabletop game, either for RTG or /RTG or /TG, you know, for the fat guys over on 4chan. I don't go to 4chan because it's too it's too dangerous to go to 4chan, especially at work. But the 1D4chan wiki is pretty fucking cool. It's got a lot of neckbeard wisdom in it. And one of those rotten neckbeards wrote some Adeptus Sororitas corrupted by Nurgle erotic fiction. It's pretty fucking gross. But I was laughing my ass off at work reading it on my smartphone. I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? I was like, just reading a joke. But, oh, want to share? No, I don't. I don't care to share this with you. And we're going to use up whatever we have on the palette here, and then we're going to be done with this particular shade for now. But we can see better here. That's a nice base. It's a nice base to work with, I think. Filling any maybe the spots we missed them a little bit here. It's okay. You know, it doesn't have to be a perfectly even coat. Again, because we're going to have some organic variations in it with a different rot. We said I should probably set these aside. I'll take them off the palette so I know that I've made that pass on them. Getting that Nurgling's taint right here. Oh yeah, get your taint. Nurgle taint. I need that model. This is why it'd be easier to paint them and then assemble them. Broken record over here. But you get the point. Look a lot better off camera than they do with my current video settings. So like I said, after I'm done with this, I'm going to tweak the settings a bit and we'll start a new video. Maybe I can get a little water on here to extend it out. Revitalize the palette a bit here. Fortunately, the water is this exact shade because that's what we've been... the only thing we've been using on the palette, so more life out of this blotch of shit here. This Nurgle Love Juice. Nurgle Love Juice. Nurgle's gonna put his meat inside of you. Motherfucking Nurgle, what are you gonna do? I like to sing bad songs with shitty lyrics that I make up on the spot. It's one of my hobbies. It makes me laugh to myself. If you ever see me out in real life, I'm chuckling to myself for no reason. It's probably because I'm singing a shitty song to myself with really bad, cheesy lyrics. And it may or may not be in gangsta rap form, so. Oh, I write the worst rhymes. I'm not even going to share them with you, they're so bad. But, I'm not. It's not my style. Get as much of this off the palate as we can. Ooh, yeah, we got a nice little abscess, open festering wound on his asshole there. Seems to be just about right. Ooh. Again, we don't want to obscure the detail. I can't wait to base these with that Armageddon Dust combo that we whipped up a few episodes back while working on our Necrons. So that Triarch Stalker is just about done. I'm going to work on it offline, and tentatively I should be hopefully playing my first game of 8th no later than Monday night. Today's Thursday, so I won't have much time to do any hobbying this weekend, probably only a couple hours, because like I said, I'm prepping for an upcoming move. Wizard Beard relocating its wizard tower to a new building somewhere, I don't know where yet. This step would already be done. I know I sound like I'm just repeating myself here, but I'm really wanting to get a fucking airbrush. Like, it'd been nice to mix this up in the pot, right, in the airbrush, and then just spray it on. Each model would only take a couple of minutes. It could be thoroughly coated in no time. See if we can, again, don't want to waste any of this Nurgle Love Juice if we don't have to. Kind of see it when it's thin, kind of blends real nice with that base Rakarth Flesh that we put down on top of the Chaos Black primer. Yeah, come on, you bastard. I've been noticing that I've been getting paint splatters on my MacBook. Fortunately, the body is, brushed aluminum, so it cleans pretty easily. So I just used one of those like Lysol wipes, like the preloaded Lysol wipes with the cleaning agent on it. Yeah, they work pretty well. Probably wouldn't want to use it on like plastic, but or maybe, I don't know. The fuck, what do I know? I'm not a chemist. I know shit about chemistry. But if you're trying to clean up paint splatters off of your MacBook that was issued to you by your employer, I just grabbed the Kroger brand disinfecting wipes. They seem to work pretty well. Can't wait to do the bug eyes. I think the bug eye is the fly eyes in this one. I'll probably do make these like purple, a nice deep rich purple, or something else that contrasts well with however the body looks at the end. All right. And we did get pretty good coats on these ones here in the front. Let's see. Let's just be a little more thorough and make sure we got a little more if we missed any spots. Nice thing again about Nurgle is if you experiment with a technique on one model, you're not committed to using it on all of them if you don't like the effect, right? You don't have to. That's the same with any of the armies that you build, but you can understand some armies you might want a consistent color scheme, especially if they're wearing uniforms, right? If they're soldiers of some kind. If they're human soldiers, they all belong to the same branch of the military and the same, you know, the same subset of the armed forces. And yeah, you know, consistency is important. But when you're dealing with rotting disease demons made from decaying flesh, you can get a little more organic, a little more free with your choices. Nurgle's Love Juice. I should only take a few minutes to get these last few spots. Good old elephant foot. My own old rhino ankle. Hey, look at your moose knuckle. Moose knuckle. Every time I say moose knuckle to myself, it makes me chuckle. Moose knuckle. And hey, if you got a nice moose knuckle, go ahead and post a link to your moose knuckle picture. You know, post it in the comments. If you post some good moose knuckles, we'll put them up in the video, one of the episodes. It could be a moose knuckle you find on the internet. It could be your own private moose knuckle that you carry around with you every day. You know, your standard issue daily carry moose knuckle. It's fine. I do love a good moose knuckle. I like saying it too. Moose knuckle. Yeah. Ooh, get that taint right there. Yeah, that tainty Nurgle. See right here? I don't know if you can see this. I'll trace it with the tip here. Right here. Been really nice to have some green stuff to kind of fill that in right there. Trying to stretch as much of this as we can off the palette because we won't be coming back to it for a while. We don't want to waste any of the paint, so waste no paint. Cover your taint with Nurgle. Oh yeah, see if we can squeeze enough Nurgle Love Juice out of here for these last two models. Of this slightly bigger than a baker's dozen group of Plaguebearers, because we forgot to prime 6 of them. I forgot to prime 6 of them. What the fuck are you gonna do, right? Oh yeah, see up underneath here, where the head meets the neck. But that's okay, because we'll can always touch that up later. The flesh could be a bit splotchy, a bit rotten, a bit diseased looking. It is Nurgle after all. Oh yeah. See right here too, This spot would have been nice to have a little bit of green stuff in. All right, let's line them up for the overhead shot. That looks good. We'll switch cameras and we'll get a better, slightly better shot here. All right, so to give you a better close-up of what we've been working on here, take a look at this standard bear. You can see our Nurgle Love Juice that we whipped up together on the palette. It looks pretty good. It has that nice, rotten, putrid, pussy look that I associate with Nurgle. We all do. And, you know, it looks kind of, obviously, it looks similar to the Nurgling Green, but on the model it has a bit of a different flavor because we added that pale saffron from Reaper Master Series, high density pigment. So that's it. That's where we're going to stop today. Of course, as it says down below, you can find me at www.officialraylong.com. Follow me on Twitter at officialraylong. Fuck it, if you're on a social media network, I'm probably on there too as Official Raylong. I'm not going to list them all. Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, those are the big ones. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Thanks for your time. Look forward to painting more Nurgle.